efficient. Teresa Tiengo reports.
In a move to tackle corruption, Liberian President Joseph Boakai has suspended over 450 senior government officials, including ministers, for failing to declare their assets to the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission. These officials have been placed on unpaid leave for a month or until they comply with the requirements to submit their assets declaration, as confirmed by the presidency. The suspension affects a wide range of government figures, including the ministers of Education and Health, as well as special envoys for tourism and investment. The action follows concerns about a lack of transparency and accountability among public officials, with Boakai emphasizing their non-compliance with asset declaration laws and a main effort to fight corruption. Under the country's law, all public officers are required to declare their assets both before taking up office and upon leaving their government positions. The NSCC has made the list of 457 officials who failed to comply public in line with legal requirements. Boakai reiterated the asset declaration is not just a legal obligation, but a crucial step in rebuilding public trust and ensuring the transparency of government institutions. Earlier in July, he set a personal example by announcing a 40% salary cut for himself, aiming to promote what he called responsible governance and demonstrate solidarity within the Liberian people. His stance follows allegations of corruption and lavish spendings against his predecessor George Weah, which sparked protests across the country due to rising living costs. While Boakai's decision has been praised by some, reactions to the suspension have been mixed. Political analyst Abdullah Kiatamba voiced support for the president's anti-corruption stance, noting the significance of holding public officials accountable. However, he also acknowledged that some officials had faced challenges in fulfilling the asset declaration requirement, pointing to potential logistical and bureaucratic hurdles. While many suspended officials have begun to comply with the asset declaration requirement, the debate continues over whether this move will be enough to restore confidence in the government. For now, President Boakai's decision stands as a bold step in Liberia's ongoing fight against corruption, but it remains to be seen whether it will lead to meaningful change. Teresa Tiengo, GBS News.
Recent directive from the Trump administration's Department of Justice to drop corruption charges against New York City Mayor Eric Adams has led to significant turmoil within the agency, resulting in the signification of 6 senior officials. The officials, including the Daniel Sessions, the acting U.S. Attorney for Manhattan, resigned in protest on February 13, 2025. They refused to comply with an order from Deputy Attorney General Emil Bove to dismiss a 5-count indictment against Adams, who is accused of accepting bribes from Turkish officials. Adams was indicted in September 2024 on charges that include bribery and soliciting foreign campaign contributions. He has pleaded not guilty and claims that the charges are politically motivated, stemming from his criticism of President Biden's immigration policies. The directive to drop the case was justified by Bove on the grounds that ongoing prosecution would hinder Adams' ability to assist with Trump's immigration policies. He stated this decision was made without assessing the strength of the evidence against Adams. Morocco's cattle and sheep herds have shrunk by 38% over the past 9 years due to persistent droughts. Agriculture Minister Ahmed El Braouri announced, with dwindling rainfall and depleted water reserves, the crisis has led to higher meat imports and government tax exceptions to stabilize prices, Paris Kigo reports.
Morocco's cattle and sheep herds have decreased by 38% compared with the last census 9 years ago, Agriculture Minister Ahmed said on Thursday. 6 years of prolonged droughts have emptied Moroccan dams, caused mass job losses in farming, and pushed the country to speed up its desalination plans.
The number of sheep herds in Morocco declined as a result of 6 consecutive years of drought, and this led to the disappearance of pastures that were the primary sources for livestock breeders to graze, which made them resort first to buying fodder, and many of them died.
Rainfall was 53 lower this year compared with the average of the last 30 years. There was little pasture for livestock to feed on, and consequently a drop in meat production, leading to higher imports of cattle and red meat.
Due to drought, we are sometimes forced to sell sheep in order to get money to buy fodder for the other remaining sheep. This has caused prices to rise in the market because we sell a number of sheep in order to preserve capital oil.
In its 2025 budget, Morocco suspended import duty and value-added tax on cattle, sheep and camels, as well as red meat to keep prices stable in the domestic market. The planted area with the country's main staple of the soft wheat in Daram was 2.6 million hectares, up from 2.6 million hectares last year. Last year, drought slashed Morocco's output of soft wheat, Daram and barley to 3.1 million tons, down to 43% of year earlier. Paris Kigo, GPS News.
The ambassador will take a short break. We will be right back with more as we debunk global diplomacy and geopolitics.
Hello kids! Did you know a year has 31,557,600 seconds? Why do you think so? Exactly. There are 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, 24 hours in a day, and 365 and 25 days in a year. We count the extra 0.25 because of leap year. When you multiply all these numbers together, you get a huge number of seconds. That's why a year feels long. The time still flies when you are having fun. Amazing guest for today. We have a very short clip for you guys. Hapa tunaonyesha pencil art, how to do a portrait ya dem. Check this out.
Me, I go by the name of Mike MG. I'm an artist, stroke rapper, stroke shrapper, stroke trapper.
So hata before we start, wazazi wako walisemaje about your music? Did they support you?
I'm still young, need some guns, need some insight. Kuserereka tutadunda will be hell of a night. Autopilot zitashika will be on my flight. The sativa devil's ladies made me high like a kite.
So do you think msanii pia anafaa ku cloud chase ndio talent yake ionekane, inafaa kuwa only talent?
Go for Fenagito, I'd go for Octopizzo.
Octopizzo.
And I'd go for P-Unit.
Oh.
P-Unit as a whole, like your group.
CY Kiki,
Yes,
fresh. Wewe unafikiria nini ukitengeneza hiyo video?
Kienda Music Festival nilikuwa nafanya mafoka ilikuwa performance ya kurap na Kiswahili.
Okay.
Yeah. Ni kama shairi lakini ni rap. Lazima ikuwe na articulate message. Yeah, hadi tukafika finali huko Kasa.
Welcome everyone. It's your girl Alice and this is GBS TV Art Club, the best art club.
How can I start the missionary school? And God was giving me the heart to start the missionary school.
Water remains to be the world's most precious commodity, but is the most misused. Time of drought, saving water is the only solution to making sure you have it. Don't use the shower when water is scarce. Instead, use the basin while bathing. Repair all leaking taps and pipes. Wash your car only when never necessary. If not, use a piece of cloth to wipe it clean. Do not use the hose pipe to water your garden. Instead, use the water you clean your vegetable with to water your flowers. Do not release wastewater into rivers. Note that your downstream is someone else's upstream. Of all the waters available on Earth, only 1% is fit for human consumption. Every drop counts.
Everywhere, GPS.
Welcome to the Ambassador. Africa is witnessing a digital revolution, with technology now more accessible to millions of non-English speakers across the continent. A major step forward in this transformation is Luganda GPT, an AI-powered language model, which is helping bridge language gaps in Africa with a focus on local languages. Luganda GPT is opening doors for millions to engage in education, business, and the digital economy. Irene Juguna reports.
Omugagga mu Uganda tekeesya ku kusoma n'okukulaakulanya obukugu. Teeka ssente mu bizinensi ez'amagoba ng'ebyobulimi eby'obusuubuzi.
That is Luganda GPT, an AI-powered language model revolutionizing Africa's digital landscape. Focused on local languages, Luganda GPT is breaking down language barriers and empowering millions of non-English speakers across the continent. For entrepreneurs, students, and everyday users, it is unlocking new opportunities, helping businesses reach customers, and giving students access to education in their native tongue. At the recent AI Summit in Paris, discussions highlighted the potential of AI tailored to local languages, transforming Africa's digital economy, especially for small and medium enterprises. Despite challenges like high data costs and limited resources, Luganda GPT is leading the way, making the digital world more inclusive and accessible for Africa's diverse population. With innovations like Luganda GPT, Africa is ensuring that its digital future speaks to everyone, no matter the language.
Obugagga okuyita mu byamayumba mu banka ne mu bintu ebirala bizinesi.
Irene Juguna, GBS News.
U.S. President Donald Trump and U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth were condemned by European Union and Ukrainian officials for making successions with Russia. In regards to the future of Ukraine, both Trump and Hegseth have stated that in order for the peace deal to materialize, Ukraine must give up their right to reclaim territories under Russian occupation. Top officials from Ukraine, Russia, and the U.S. will meet today in the Munich to discuss more on the peace deal. Abdi Hamid Ali has more.
Yesterday, U.S. President Donald Trump and U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth received global backlash for making concessions on behalf of Ukraine. Trump and Hegseth have stated that in order for the peace deal to be successful, Ukraine have to give up their goals of joining NATO and their right to reclaim territories under Russian occupation. The EU Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas had this to say.
Any quick fix is a dirty deal. It is clear that any deal behind our backs will not work. Any agreement will need also Ukraine and Europe being part of it, and this is clear that appeasement also always fails.
Both the EU and Ukraine criticized the Trump administration for not involving them in the conversation. Pete Hegseth met with NATO leaders and defended the negotiation strategy of concessions.
But simply pointing out realism, like the borders won't be rolled back to what everybody would like them to be in 2014, is not a concession to Vladimir Putin.
Hegseth also stated the goal of the peace deal.
Brief allies on President Trump's top priority: a diplomatic, peaceful, end to this war as quickly as possible in a manner that creates enduring and durable peace.
Russian and US officials have stated that Ukraine will be involved in the negotiation process to end the war. European Union have stated that they must be involved in the negotiation process and that the peace deal should favor Ukraine.
Whether we decide to fall under the illusion that Mr. Trump and Mr. Putin are going to find a solution for all of us, and that would be a deadly trap. Or we will, as Europe, embrace our own economic, financial, and military capacity, and we will be the ones who will be deciding what will happen in Europe and in Ukraine.
Trump has stated that top officials from US, EU, Russia, and Ukraine will meet in the Munich Security Conference today. Trump has also stated that top officials from US, Russia, and Ukraine will meet in Saudi Arabia next week. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky stated that it was unpleasant for Trump calling Russia first. He further stated that all talks concerning Ukraine, it's about Ukraine, and nothing can be about Ukraine without Ukraine. The war, which has lasted for almost 3 years, has reached a point of stagnation, with both sides counting losses. The future of Ukraine hangs in the balance, and both Europe and Ukraine lack the utmost trust in the Trump administration, signals a consequence in rushing for a peace deal. The question remains, will the two warring nations settle their difference and establish peace? Only time will tell. This is Abdihamid Ali, GBS News.
A terrifying incident unfolded today in Munich as a car was driven into a crowd of trade unionists, injuring 28 people. The attack occurred just hours before the start of the Munich Security Conference and has raised alarms over security and immigration in Germany. The suspect, a 24-year-old Afghan asylum seeker, was arrested at the scene. This latest act of violence is fueling an already heated debate just days before crucial elections in the country.
In the southern German city of Munich, a violent incident unfolded when a Mini Cooper was driven into a crowd of trade unionists, injuring 28 people and leaving some in critical condition. The suspect, a 24-year-old Afghan asylum seeker, was quickly arrested at the scene, and authorities are now investigating the possibility of an extremist motive behind the act. The suspect's asylum request had been rejected, though he had not been slated for deportation. German leaders condemned the attack, calling it awful and vowing severe punishment for the suspect, including deportation, with some emphasizing the need for changes in Germany's approach to immigration and security. This attack follows a series of violent incidents in recent months, such as deadly car ramming at Christian Market in Magdeburg and a knife attack leading to intensified political discussions on immigration policies. The Munich attack has further fueled debates ahead of February 23rd elections, with some political parties pushing for a stricter immigration control. Scott's government has already made moves to tighten asylum rules and expedite deportations, including to Afghanistan. As key international figures, including US Vice President and Ukrainian President, arrived in Munich for the annual security conference, the violence cast a shadow over the city and the ongoing discussions on immigration and security in Germany. Trizatieno, GBS News.
A political earthquake hits Washington. Thousands of federal workers are being shown the door as President Trump and Elon Musk push forward with their bold plan to downsize the government. But is this cost-cutting or chaos?
As government is facing its largest staffing shakeup in decades, thousands of workers have been dismissed as part of a new effort to reduce what the administration calls excess government spending. The Department of Veteran Affairs, the U.S. Forest Service, and several others have cut thousands of workers, many in their probationary period. Some received termination emails, while others were dismissed in virtual meetings. The biggest cut hit the Department of Education, Small Businesses Administration, and Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Though the probationary workers were first to go, Reports suggest permanent staffers are also being let go. Elon Musk's role in firing is raising questions. As head of the newly created Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, he is leading cost-cutting measures across multiple agencies. Department of Government Efficiencies have entered at least 16 agencies, accessing personnel and financial records. The IRS was the latest to feel the impact, sparking concern among federal employees. The firing have triggered a wave of legal challenges, where 14 states have filed lawsuits, arguing that Musk's influence in federal affairs is unlawful. Federal workers have protections against arbitrary dismissals. This case could test the limits of executive power. As the purge continue, one question looms: who's next? With 280,000 probationary workers at risk and Musk's growing influence, this battle is far from over. Joy Kura, GBS News.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited the White House to discuss key trade issues with US President Donald Trump. Both leaders agreed to initiate an early trade deal and handle trade tariffs. Furthermore, Modi promised Trump that India will purchase more US products such as military equipment, oil, and gas. Here is more on the scene.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi met with US President Donald Trump to discuss key unresolved issues such as illegal immigration and high tariff rates. Trump has accused India of issuing high tariffs to US imports and calling them unfriendly to US businesses. This week, Trump has stated that he will issue reciprocal tariff to countries issuing higher tariffs to US imports. Earlier this week, Trump issued a 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum imports, which have affected India. Modi and Trump seem to have reached an agreement where India will reduce their tariff rate. The White House praised Modi's effort of reducing tariff rates, making it easier for US farm-related products to have easier access in India.
Prime Minister Modi and I have agreed that we'll begin negotiations to address the long-running disparities that should have been taken care of over the last 4 years, but they didn't do that in the US-India trading relationship.
India plans to make US their dominant supplier of military equipment such as F-35 fighter jets, oil and gas.
We're also paving the way to ultimately provide India with the F-35 stealth fighter.
Both leaders expressed interest in cooperation on nuclear energy, even though they are facing legal challenges due to this matter.
Friends, today we have also set ourselves the target of more than doubling bilateral trade to attain $500 billion by 2030. We will focus on trade in oil and gas.
They also talked about strengthening their cooperation in the Indo-Pacific region, a move to counter China's influence in the region. Modi also met with top US officials, including head of the Department of Government Efficiency and CEO of Tesla and X, Elon Musk, head of intelligence agency Tulsi Gabbard, and Vivek Ramaswamy. India is the world's largest democratic state and the most powerful country in Southern Asia, and a huge competitor with China. With the formation of an alliance between the two nuclear nations in terms of trade and security, it will bolster India's legitimacy in the global stage. This is Abdihamid Ali, GBS News.
And that's all for today with me, your Ambassador Paul Mathenge, on the Ambassador 1 p.m. Follow all of our stories at GBS TV. It's updated through the day. We meet on Thursday and Friday here at GBS TV, the Ambassador. Thank you for your time and company.